Update Part 4 to 11-year wife, other parts down below. Last night was our girls' school open house. When we were leaving to go over to the school, I loaded the kids in her van, like always. And I got in the passenger side as she came into the garage. She immediately says, "No, we're taking your car this time." Okay. No problem. I have the girls bail out of the van and into my car while I go back inside to get my keys. It's only a short drive to their school. Maybe 3 minutes tops, as we pull away from the house. STBXW says, "Didn't you get paid today?" I respond that I did get paid. She asks where is the money. Checking doesn't show any deposits, so I calmly remind her that I have my own accounts now and it was deposited into my checking. I can see her demeanor quickly go stiff and tense. She says, "So this is how you're going to be. I knew you would do this." I responded with, "We wouldn't be in this situation if you didn't have an affair and had accepted my many offers to reconcile." Well, that really pissed her off. She then says, "Well, if you never took a drink, I wouldn't have had an affair." OMG. Yeah, I actually said that out loud. I say to her, "So you are blaming me for your bad decision to commit adultery?" She says yes. By that time, we were pulling up to the school, so the conversation stopped, but she was fuming. She jumped out of the car, yanked the kids out and rushed them into building, stomping all the way. We didn't talk the rest of the night, just ignored each other in the house. I made slice and bake cookies for the girls' bedtime snack. Got them all ready for bed on time while she lay on the sofa watching soap operas. I told the girls to get mommy so she could say goodnight and get them settled in. She wasn't in the mood, so she told them to go play for a few minutes. 45 minutes later they finally got to bed. And now it's Friday. Another fine day in limbo land. I talked with the STBXW about financial support yesterday afternoon. It went okay. No arguments, although she still complained that she will have no extra money left over each month after paying the bills. She wanted to save for a summer vacation and other stuff. I told her the days of summer vacations, seeing every new movie that comes out, eating out a lot, are over. There's no money for any of that now. I asked her what she suggested since she was getting 60% of our combined income to start with. She didn't have any solutions, of course. We went over child support till the girls are 18 and temporary alimony for 2 years, plus. I will keep the girls on my insurance till they're 18 and keep her on it for 2 years. After 2 years, she's on her own. I told her that is plenty of time for her to increase her salary into the 30s so that she's self-sufficient. I offered to split the home equity payment 50-50 with her since it's marital debt anyway and we're equally responsible for it. Since she will be living in the marital home, she's responsible for the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and maintenance. I told her I'm doing this voluntarily as a show of good faith. Yeah, that will get me flamed, and that if she feels the need to file for support then all offers are off the table and she takes her chances in court. I'm sure her attorney will tell her she can get a lot more. I told her to look at what I have left to live on and figure out where I'm supposed to get more money to give her. I know I'm expecting that somehow. She is rational and reasonable about this, and it's probably a fairy tale on my part, but it's the ethical and moral thing to do. Hopefully one day she sees that, and hopefully one day my girls will understand it and what I did to support them the best I could under the circumstances. She keeps asking me what my plans are. Did I sign a lease? I tell her the same story every time. I'm stuck in limbo until we agree on custody of the girls. She says she wants things to start off slowly without pushing them too fast to live with me and swap houses and so on. She suggested they stay in the marital home and I just keep them overnight one time per week on wed night and go from there. I told her I'm okay with some kind of ramp up over time, but that we need to agree what the end result will be. I can't have it be open-ended, and then she balks later, leaving me standing on the outside. I told her that and she got upset that I need to have a set schedule and timeline. She asked why I must have that. I told her I need that schedule so that nothing is left to chance. I can't tell her the real reason is it might set a status quo that could harm my custody rights. Maybe she knows that and that is why she's pushing it. I don't know. When we talked about the times when she has the girls and I get them after school, I said that I would get their homework started, make a meal, and then when she gets home, I would leave so she has her time with them in the evening those days. She tells me I don't have to leave. She's not pushing me out now. I can continue to stay. That pissed me off. I told her I bet she would like me to stay and continue to keep her and support her financially and domestically. That she would like to continue using me, treating me like a roommate. I told her she is a toxic person and has poisoned me emotionally. I need to start a new life, separate from her. And one that includes my children. She wants everything to appear the same to them. But damn it, that's not possible anymore. She just can't get that through her thick head. Sorry for the rant, it's all pent up inside and I'm really dreading filing for custody because I know that will set things into a downward spiral with her. God, please give me the strength to survive this emotional torture. I met with my attorney yesterday to go over filing for custody of my 2 girls. He really put me at ease over my concerns about mothers. Girls having an advantage over a father's rights. My state has seen a lot of custody law changes in the last 20 years that basically put both parents on equal standing going into any custody deliberations. And it doesn't hurt that he's the same age as the judge and they used to practice law together. The process starts off with me filing a custody claim, basically suing my STBXW for primary physical custody, 70% or greater, and joint legal custody, 50-50. Then she will get served papers. Then me, STBXW, attorneys, and judge meet for a conference. No testimony. Exhibits or evidence are allowed. It's only a conversation back and forth between the judge and parents to see where we stand on the custody issue. My attorney wants to use a positive strategy going into the conference. He wants to build me up to be the better parent, rather than tear her down. That comes later if necessary. And I have tons of examples over the years for him to use of how I've been a good father, a good provider, loving parent, etc. Also, the fact I have a really nice place to live secured, it's in the same school district, 2 minutes from the marital home are all in my favor. If we cannot reach an agreement during the conference, then a hearing will be scheduled. That's where I don't want to go. In a hearing there would be testimony, witnesses, evidence, and possibly interviews of the kids. This is where all the nasty $ hit would happen, and I really don't want to go down that road. Exposing all our crap to the court and attacking each other will only make co-parenting that much harder afterward. I tried talking with the STBXW last night about custody for like the 5th time and it didn't go well. She has a huge amount of bitterness and anger welling up within her now that the D process has started, and as she starts to see the raw reality of what she's facing alone. She started saying nasty things to taunt and provoke me, like saying maybe I should beat her or push her to get my way. Saying things about what a terrible husband I was. I didn't bite. At one point I laughed out loud, which really pissed her off. She says, "You think it's funny, but just wait." I replied I'm chuckling because the things she is saying are just driving home the fact that I'm making the right decision to D and seek custody. That shut her right up. After a long pause she huffs good night. She lay there for a long time before falling asleep, as did I. Seems her thoughts were keeping her awake. So, I plan to move forward with filing for custody. The claim should be written up today and I'll sign it this afternoon or tomorrow morning. Then it will be filed at the courthouse and she will be served, again. STBXW had minivan in the shop for an oil change and to check the front brakes and serpentine belt. Both have been giving us problems, making noises for months. Back in June they told us the brakes would have to be completely rebuilt in the fall, so this is something we both knew about well before I filed for D. Anyway, she asked me last night if I would pay for half of the repairs. I told her I would think about it. Man, I would love to tell her it's her van, her problem, but our circumstances aren't exactly clean-cut. I'm still living there, sharing the bills. There has been no separation of marital property. Both our names are on the van title. But most of all, my precious girls ride in that van 70% of the time. My gut is telling me bite the bullet and help out for their safety, also. I'm a handyman, so I could do 90% of the work and save us half the cost of having a repair shop do it. STBXW called me to go over a few things about our girls, new babysitter interviews and such. Somehow, we got into a relationship discussion about the past. I asked her where did the woman I married go? What happened to her? To which she brutally flogged me with all my past transgressions, especially the drinking, put-downs, and neglect. She told me right before the affair started that I had broken her. She had no self-esteem left, no emotion or feelings for me anymore. So, I asked her why she played me and faked it for the past 3 years. I told her she wasted years of our lives that we can't get back. We could be beyond this mess by now and on our way separately. She replied it wasn't wasted because she kept our family together for that time so our girls could have a normal life. How about that? I told her I hear what she's saying and fully understand her position, but I wish she had been this clear about us many years ago. I told her I understand that how I treated her was horrible and that my epiphany came too late. She's broken, bitter, and angry at me for what I did and apparently isn't able to or doesn't want to work through it to overcome the pain I caused. I guess that's her choice to hold on to the past and dwell on it. I know she blames me for her affair, but still knowing the damage I inflicted on someone I was supposed to cherish and love till death do us part weighs heavily on my heart. She asked when I'm going to start making support payments like we talked about. I told her not until I move out. She says she thinks it should be more. I asked her why 60% of our income isn't good enough and what was I supposed to live on. She just said she will talk with domestic relations to see what they say she'll get. She again asked me when I'm moving out, very harsh and dry tone when she spoke. Perhaps my continued presence in the house is bothering her. She just wants me gone. I told her we still have the custody roadblock. She reiterated she will not agree to 50-50. She says it's too much too soon for the girls. I reminded her I would consider a phase and plan, but that she needs to agree to the end result being 50-50 whether it's weeks or several months from now. She wouldn't commit though. She's trying to manipulate me into thinking we have some kind of custody plan without stating any details or locking anything in. She keeps saying eventually I would get more time with them. Duck that. Just got an email from my STBXW. I'm sorry if I was harsh on the phone with you. It was not an easy morning with the girls, however. We did make the bus and it was good because they had fun being silly with all the kids. I don't want you to feel rushed. We need each other with the girls to balance their schedules and needs. I know we need to work together for them. I think doing 50-50 is expecting way too much too soon. Sometimes I don't think you realize how hard life was for me. Your moods were more sporadic and depressive than you think. Your insults and detachment from me were crippling. What should have been a very happy time for us was clouded with your depression and drinking. And yes, I would like to work together on the bills so we can make sure everything is taken care of. Have a good day. And there you have it. She was done with me years ago. I think I'm on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Feel like I'm going to throw up. I'm shaking all over. Just took an anti-anxiety pill to try and calm down. I just learned my STBXW dropped the girls off at school then drove 2 hours to meet the OM for the day. I think they went to his new place. Not sure. She came home at exactly the right time as if she were coming from work. I'm freaking out. Why is that? I was doing so well moving on, filing for D, filing for custody. I even signed the lease to my new place today. But this is like D-Day all over. I have intense feelings of betrayal. My chest hurts. Why can't I let go of her after what she's done to me? I don't want this divorce, but I have no choice left but to continue and come out better off on the other side. Someone please tells me it gets better somewhere down the road. She told him she's not going to accept 50-50 custody. He must have asked if I had moved out because she told him that I wouldn't leave until custody was settled. She told him that I was talking more with her, which is true to some extent because we're talking more often about the girls and their activities. I have not been making small talk at all. People liken this experience to a death. Well, I'm here to tell you I've experienced many deaths of close relatives, but it was nothing like this. This nightmare just keeps going on and on without seeming end. I don't know if I can lay in the same bed tonight with her. My emotions are just overwhelming at the moment. Thank God I have an IC meeting tomorrow. I definitely need it after this day. I can't kick her out, legally, due to both names being on the deed in our state laws. She has equal right to stay in the marital home just as I do. The law doesn't look at other factors like infidelity. I could ask, and have in the recent past, but she simply says, I'm not going anywhere. You go. She knows it's painful for me and maybe gets some kind of sick satisfaction from it while cake eating at the same time. I would desperately like to move out, but my attorney advised me not to or my position with custody can be harmed. I can't get a temporary custody order because there is no impending physical harm to the kids. The only potential is emotional harm, but that would only happen if she or I lose control and have a huge blowout. And I can't allow that to happen or I'll likely end up in jail. I'm just plain stuck. And she's pulling the strings sort of, maybe more like tugging on them. I mean, I'm still pushing ahead with D in custody, but it's moving too slowly for my liking. She did tell the OM that the place I was looking at got rented out and she was thankful because it helps her if I'm not in the same school district. I wonder what her reaction will be when I start packing up incidentals and taking them over to my new place this weekend. I can move maybe 90% of my stuff into the new place and still live at home for now. All I need are my clothes and toiletries, like staying in a hotel each night. That makes my stomach knot up thinking about it. STBXW came down to the family room where I was on the computer. She sat down and I could see she was upset. We started talking about our relationship, past issues and such. The conversation went round in circles like it always does, rehashing the same old faults and mistakes we both made. Eventually she brings up custody and asks a question in such a way that made me think she had already picked up the custody complaint from our PO box. Turns out she hadn't picked them up yet. She asked if I had filed. I told her yes. That she gave me no choice. She was being unreasonable and stonewalling me, and I'm not going to sit around here waiting on her. I have a new life to start. She became very upset. She asked what type, partial or full custody. I told her full custody, at which point she freaked out, yelling at me, telling me to get out of the house. You can't stay here, etc. She tried to blame me, saying I was doing this to our children, I was the one hurting them. I stayed cool, calm, and collected the whole time. I responded sensibly and matter-of-fact to her questions and corrected her when she tried to blame me and tell me I'm doing stuff to my children. The discussion continued with her becoming very emotional and distraught to the point she needed to leave and go back upstairs. She went up to our bedroom and cried. Our girls noticed this and started to become upset too, so I told the girls to come into the living room so we could talk and I would answer any questions they have. STBXW hears me talking to them and storms out of the bedroom. She's in a really bad mood and blurts out, "Daddy is going to take you girls away from me." Both girls react with distress. I jump up from the couch and go to her, telling her to stop in a hushed tone, stop telling lies and scaring them. I whisper loudly. The girls hover around us. She keeps on, "Yeah, Daddy thinks I'm a terrible mom and wants to take you away," she says. I step in between her and the girls, look her directly in the eye and tell her she needs to stop right now and get control of herself. She does manage to rein in her emotions a bit and sits down on the couch. I go into the bedroom to think about what to do next now that she's trying to alienate them from me. I hear them talking in the living room. The girls are upset. My one daughter, the mommy's girl, comes in to tell me off. She tells me that I shouldn't tell mommy things like that to upset her. I tell her that she doesn't fully understand the situation and doesn't have all the facts. I tell her that I didn't say that to mommy at all and she misunderstands what is going on. We all gather back in the living room to talk. STBXW blurts out again. Why not tell them the truth? Tell them you filed for divorce. This really scares the girls. They ask me if I want a divorce, to which I respond no. They ask me if I wished we would get a divorce, to which I respond no. I tell them I don't want nor to wish for a divorce, but sometimes we must do things we don't want to do so that life can be better afterwards. I asked them if they like doing homework or practicing guitar. They said no. Not always. I said divorce is like that too. Sometimes we don't really want it, but in the end doing it will be better for all of us. Both girls state adamantly you cannot get divorced. We are supposed to be together as a family. My other daughter, Daddy's girl, declares you two are not getting divorced. As if just by saying it she can stop it. Mommy says it won't happen for a long while. I agree and tell the girls that it takes a while. It's a long process. One daughter has had enough and leaves the room, goes to her bedroom. The other one is upset and doesn't know what to do with herself. She goes into the kitchen for one of her toys. As the girls are getting ready for bed, they start to argue, so I go into the one daughter's room to see what the problem is, and they are fighting about what clothes to wear to school tomorrow. I break them up and tell mommy's girl to go to bed. She becomes defiant, stands her ground and back talks to me with a smart mouth. Something about what she thinks I said to mommy about custody and how I shouldn't do that. I told her she was out of line and to go to her room. She goes to mommy because she typically protects her from punishments and lets her off easier. I follow behind her as she approaches mommy, take her by the shoulders and turn her around toward her room, telling her I told you to go to your room for punishment. Mommy freaks out, yells at me to take my hands off her as if I'm hurting her, which I'm not. I'm just redirecting her to her bedroom. I walk her over to her room as mommy rushes up behind me, telling me to leave her alone, get away from her. I sit daughter on her bed and tell her in a stern voice that her comment was unacceptable and disrespectful, and I expect her not to disrespect me like that again. By now mommy has pushed her way past me and is sitting on the bed holding daughter. I'm done with my reprimand, so I simply leave the room. Eventually we get them into bed. I lay with them for a few minutes each. They don't want to talk, Instead, they want to read me a story. So, I let them. STBXW gets a quick shower while I'm laying with them. After she gets out, I go to watch some TV after all this turmoil. STBXW gets the girls up, takes them into our bedroom and locks the door. They sleep with her overnight. I'm locked out. I don't say anything or do anything. I just accept that they need that time together and I sleep in my daughter's bed. An hour later, after the girls fall asleep, and I'm almost asleep, STBXW comes over, flips on the lights and sits on the bed. She tries every which way to persuade me I need to stay and not separate. She says I need to call off the custody hearing. I need to do this for the girls. She asks why I would do this to our children. It's going to scar them for life. I need to think about them. I'm being vindictive and many other character assassinations. The whole time I listen, respond with fact when necessary, and stay calm. I show no emotion or anger. I tell her I give her many chances all the time and she doesn't accept them. I gave her 3 years to come back into the marriage. She chose to betray her family instead. I tell her I tried to talk with her for weeks about custody and she hardened her position. Moms get the kids and the house, dads get weekends. She left me no choice but to proceed with filing. She tells me I'll never get full custody because she's a good mom. She interrogates me about what my evidence against her is, what I'm planning. I tell her nothing. She says I want this to get nasty. She says I'm going to expose all her faults for the world to see. I don't respond or give in to her emotional terrorism. Eventually she sees that I won't succumb to her tactics and leaves. What a night. Update: far as I can tell, she did see an attorney yesterday. She took the checkbook with her. I haven't seen if she wrote a check out or not yet. She didn't put the checkbook back in its place. Online banking doesn't show any withdrawal from checking or savings. She may have just paid for another consult. Anyway, her demeanor last night after she got home was very calm. She didn't appear upset or agitated, which worries me, of course. This lawyer has a habit of telling her things are rosy for moms and she will get all kinds of stuff out of me. My guess is she got the same story about custody. If she did, then I doubt she and I will be able to work anything out before court. I guess it will be up to the judge. Say a prayer for me. Dads don't get a fair shake when it comes to children. All I want is to maintain the equal time I have spent with them over the years and continue to be a part of their lives. STBXW did in fact see a lawyer. She moved money out of her savings, took half of her Christmas money to checking and then wrote a check to her attorney. I saw some papers in her van tucked between the seats. Upon inspection, it turned out to be child and alimony support calculations. I have this funny feeling she may have filed for support, child and alimony, but I won't know for sure unless I get served papers. The numbers were very close to what I came up with on my own, however. I did notice that certain adjustments had not been considered, like me providing healthcare coverage, some expensive meds that I pay for, and other items that I will fight for to have the payment reduced. She's still on this bad mom kick where she thinks that my filing for primary custody automatically says that she is a terrible mother. She keeps asking me what makes me a better parent than her. She asks me how I'm going to tear her down in court. She tells me all about how much she loves our girls and how much time and devotion she put into them as babies, etc. She asked me if there will be others present, like my parents, in the hearing. I asked her why she keeps hiding what she's done. Why does she want it to be kept secret? I told her that just proves that she doesn't accept ownership for the affair and destruction of our family. At which point she goes right back into the past and attacks me for drinking and other indiscretions. One positive thing is she is going up to her mom's house this weekend and staying overnight. Her and a couple of her sisters that live in the area have plans to do a bunch of stuff to help her mom out. They clean the house, do laundry, pay bills, buy groceries, anything to help her mom out. In the meantime, I will be frantically moving stuff into my new place. I'm not taking anything noticeable from our home because I still don't want her to know yet. But I can move everything out of my parents' house they gave me, plus go shopping for all the kitchen and bath items I need. It's a start. Well, I've started moving stuff into my new place. Saturday night I met my parents at Super Walmart and they bought me all the new stuff I need for kitchen, bath, bedrooms and such. I mean everything from small appliances like microwave, toaster oven, and such down to silverware and stuff. Today we moved all the furniture items they have donated to me out of their house and into my new place. It's starting to look like a home. They really liked my new place. They couldn't believe how nice and new everything looked and how spacious it was. My dad asked me if anyone actually lived there because it was so neat and clean. He said the STBXW will be jealous when she sees it and will probably ask me to swap. I doubt that will happen. STBXW is at her mom's house for the holiday weekend with our girls. I called last night to say goodnight to our girls. I called again today but nobody answered at home. I called the W cell and no answer. Left a message for her to call me later if she could. She had the girls call me tonight, after I talked to them about their day. She sent them out of the room so she could talk to me. She started in with sarcasm and put downs for about 10 minutes. She wanted to talk about custody, saying again that I was trying to take our girls away from her. That I was hurting the girls by putting them through a custody hearing. That there would be witnesses required to testify. I told her I know there would be witnesses and that I had all I needed to support my case. She said she was surprised I didn't put up a big fight about her taking the girls up to her mom since I think she's such a bad mother. I told her it wasn't a problem. They like to visit grandma and see their cousins. Eventually she calmed down and her tone softened. She became very serious and said she doesn't want the girls to go through this court hearing. She asked if we could work this out. I told her sure, come talk to me with a proposal. I'm a reasonable person and she needs to accept the splitting up of our family and that things must be different. She cannot continue to deny that our family dynamic is changing and we will be living separate lives. Then she tells me she doesn't want that. She wants us to remain a family together. I tell her I didn't want this either but she gave me no other choice but to divorce and file for custody. I told her she didn't choose me or her family and therefore I must move on without her. The strange thing behind all this talk is she retained an attorney last week and filed a counter-complaint to my custody claim asking for primary custody. So, her position remains the same. She wants primary custody with only visitation and every other weekend for me. So, we are still opposed. The weird thing is she keeps talking about working this out and not putting the girls through a hearing. It appears that she is worried, at least on the surface, about the outcome. Oh, one last thing. Early this past week I checked to see if the weed she kept hidden in her closet was still there and it was, said after she left. I checked again and it was gone. I guess she finally decided it was not a good thing for her to be in possession of a controlled substance for the hearing. Nonetheless, I had previously documented it with a series of photographs showing the room, closet, hiding place and baggie of weed if needed for court. Last night I was hoping for some disclosure or explanation from her. During her drive back from her mom's, she called me and we talked mainly about this week and the girls' schedules. But every so often she would throw in a comment about how good it was for her to be away this weekend and have time to think about everything that's going on. She asked me if I liked being alone this weekend. I said it was okay. But I missed our daughters not being around. Later in the evening I was watching the news in our bedroom when she came in and laid down on the bed. She started talking about things but not in any coherent train of thought. She was jumping all over the place and at one point I said to her, "Spit it out." "I can't read your mind," she hemmed and hawed before finally saying she wants me to delay any further custody pursuits until after Christmas. She feels the court hearing and all will be too stressful on the girls during the upcoming holidays. I told her no, I would not delay. I've already waited years and been used by her the whole time. I told her I'm not waiting any longer. I told her custody doesn't have to drag out till December. That we could settle it right now if she were reasonable about the whole situation. The conversation pretty much stopped at that point. I got up and left the room to go get bedtime snacks for the girls. At bedtime she laid awake for 2 hours. I had trouble falling asleep too. But she didn't say anything else to me. Today I will call my attorney to set up a meeting about her counterclaim and what my response is going to be. I don't know if this is the appropriate time to formally offer 50-50 custody or not. I'll have to see what my lawyer says. I believe the preferred idea is to negotiate and settle before we get into court. This is crazy, we have to do this through our attorneys. My comment: I'll try to finish the story in part 5, but I see this as a 6-part story.